Hi everyone. I just wanted to highlight some terms from Chapter 3, which I wanted you to pay special attention to, and also further explain Assignment 4 so you guys have a clear picture of what I'm expecting from you, and you have less questions of me before you're doing your assignment. So first, within Chapter 3, I want you to pay attention to the different types of standardized tests. So the achievement test is a test that measures the extent to which you know the content that you have been taught. So we could say an achievement test for this class would be, in this case, on the content of standardized testing. An aptitude test is measuring your potential to learn in a certain subject area. So if I was to take an aptitude test on assessment practices, that would be testing your potential to learn all of the practices that we're going to be teaching in this course. An intelligence test measures the potential for learning overall. So you've heard of IQ tests, and those generally measure analytical approaches, problem solving, and logical thinking. A screening test is a test that we give, students of all ages, but it looks for issues, and it's kind of like a wide scope of a test. And when I think of a screening test, I think of an actual strainer that you use to wash vegetables. It will strain certain things through it, and the bigger issues will be caught up in the strainer. So that's what a screener does. A screener finds the cases that have larger issues so they can go to further testing. And that testing could be diagnostic testing, which is used to diagnose where the problem lies. Say that a student had a learning disability and they cannot process visual images. So a screener would say there's an issue here, and then a diagnostic test would look further and say where the issue is in the processing, and it's more specific. Validity and reliability are two very necessary characteristics or criteria that standardized assessments need to reach. They need to satisfy a certain level to be deemed as worthy of being published. So validity refers to, does the test do what it's supposed to do? Say I was going to test you on the content of standardized tests, and then I gave you a multiple choice test, and it was addressing golf practices. Now that test wouldn't be valid because it's not really measuring at all what I am supposed to be testing you on. Validity, on the other hand, is, can the results from this test be trusted? Do the results hold water? So if I was going to test you again on assessment practices, but the questions were about assessment, but the answers were not correct, and you didn't have an opportunity to actually get correct points, so you ended up getting a 0, but you knew the content, that would be a flaw in the reliability because the results are not worthy of being taken for the truth. So that being said, let's move on to our assignment 4, and I'm asking you to first reflect on the different types of standardized tests, reflect on the reliability and the validity. The chapter explains certain practices within both of these terms, and reflect on best practices for standardized testing for young children. So certain tests are no good for young children for various reasons. Please read carefully to make sure you understand which tests are more appropriate for kids in early childhood. Once you have reflected on that, I want you to do these 3 steps. First, you connect. You're going to connect to your prior experience and prior knowledge. What do you know about standardized tests? What has been your experience in the past taking standardized tests? I'm sure most of you have taken them. Then you're going to extend. You're going to extend to new ideas or new directions of thinking. What does this content make you think about? And where does your mind go when you're thinking about it? And lastly, you're going to challenge. What about standardized testing is still confusing to you, and what questions do you still have? Okay, so we're going to look for these 3 things and you're going to make a video discussing this. Your video must include different standardized tests, so you're going to explain certain standardized tests. You're going to indicate that you have read and internalized what standardized testing is and the different approaches to standardized tests. You're also going to discuss issues with reliability and validity, why these two terms are important and why they're needed in standardized test development. And lastly, you are going to include assessments considered best practices for early childhood. Again, some standardized testing is not for very young children, infants and toddlers, and some is appropriate for this age group. So please do read and highlight what is appropriate and what is not. Okay, to receive full credit, first, you must record this as a video. You can use Video Anywhere, you can use YouTube, but please do record this as a video. You can either post the video on the discussion board, you can send us a link. Just make sure that we can get it and open it. The video needs to be set to public. If it's set to private, we cannot watch it. And if we can't watch it, we can't grade it. So please set it to public. You should include all necessary criteria, the various areas I said you needed to include, and then also the connect, extend, and challenge. And lastly, you need to respond to at least one peer using the dialogue discussion rubric. So don't just say, yes, I agree, and you did a great job, but please be thoughtful and put some substance into your response so it's showing that you are really discussing this with another peer. Again, if you have any issues or concerns, questions, you can contact me in various ways. Please do contact me prior to the due date of the assignment. I can help you immensely before the assignment, but after the assignment's due and you said you didn't understand it or you couldn't work video everywhere or YouTube wasn't working, I can't really help you because I like my assignments turned in on time. So please do make sure that all of these things work prior to the due date. All right, good luck.